Have you ever felt tired? I mean, so tired. Like you are running on empty every day, all day. Trust me, I have. So I want to talk about something that's really tender, something that often lives in the shadows of our relationships. It's that feeling of being completely and utterly spent. Not just tired, but a deep soul-level exhaustion that sleep can't seem to touch. We've all been taught that relationships take work, but what happens when that work starts to feel like a crushing weight? What happens when the effort to connect, to understand, and to just with someone leaves you feeling hollowed out? This is emotional exhaustion, and it's a quiet, insidious force that can unravel the very fabric of our connections and our own well-being. The thing about this kind of exhaustion is that we often blame ourselves. We think, I should be stronger, or I'm not trying hard enough. We armor up, we pretend everything is okay, we push through the fatigue, hoping it will just go away. But ignoring these feelings, pushing them down, only gives them more power. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes an immense amount of energy, and eventually, it's going to pop up, often with more force than we expect. The first, most courageous step we can take is to simply name what's happening. Today, we're going to lean into that discomfort together. We're going to talk about 7 specific signs that you might be emotionally drained in your relationship. This isn't about placing blame or pointing fingers. It's about cultivating the courage to be honest with ourselves, to see our experiences clearly, and to understand that recognizing what's wrong is the first most critical step toward healing, reconnection, and reclaiming our whole hearts. This is about choosing courage over comfort, and it starts right now. Let's start with the most physical manifestation of this internal struggle: constant fatigue. I'm not talking about the kind of tired you feel after a long day at work or a hard workout. This is a bone-deep weariness that clings to you from the moment you wake up. You can get 8, 9, even 10 hours of sleep and still feel like you're wading through molasses. It's because your emotional and nervous systems are in a constant state of high alert. You're perpetually bracing for the next difficult conversation, the next misunderstanding, the next moment of disconnection. That vigilance, that emotional labor consumes an incredible amount of energy, leaving your physical body running on empty. It's a profound and lonely experience to feel so exhausted when, on the surface, you haven't done anything to warrant it. You might find yourself canceling plans, not because you don't want to go, but because the thought of putting on a happy face and engaging with others feels monumental. This isn't laziness, it's a symptom of a deeper depletion. Your body is sending you a clear, urgent signal that the emotional cost of your relationship is exceeding your capacity. It's a physiological response to a relational problem, a desperate plea from your system for rest, safety, and respite from the ongoing emotional strain. Remember the beginning, when you couldn't wait to share things with your partner, that new song you heard, a funny story from work, or just the simple pleasure of watching a movie together. A key sign of emotional drainage is when those shared activities, the very things that once built your bond, start to feel like obligations. The joy just isn't there anymore. It's not that you actively dislike your partner, it's more of a quiet apathy. The invitation to go on a date night feels less like an opportunity for connection, and more like another item on a to-do list you don't have the energy to tackle. This loss of interest is a form of self-protection. When we're emotionally overwhelmed, our capacity for joy, excitement, and playfulness shrinks. Our system is in survival mode, and in survival mode, there's no room for the non-essentials. Joy becomes a luxury we can't afford. You might find yourself going through the motions, laughing at the right times, and saying the right things. But inside, you feel a profound sense of emptiness. It's a heartbreaking realization when you look at the person you love and feel a sense of indifference where passion and excitement used to live. This isn't a failure of love, it's a symptom of emotional starvation. When our emotional reserves are depleted, our window of tolerance for stress becomes incredibly narrow. Think of it like a glass of water that's already filled to the brim. Even one more drop will cause it to overflow. This is why a hallmark of emotional exhaustion is increased irritability. Suddenly, the little things that you used to brush off, the way they chew, the fact they left a cabinet open, a thoughtless comment, become sources of intense frustration and anger. You might find yourself snapping, picking fights over insignificant details, or seething with a resentment that feels disproportionate to the situation. This isn't because you've suddenly become an angry or intolerant person. It's because you have no emotional margin left. The constant, low-grade stress of the relationship has used up all your patience, all your grace, all your ability to let things slide. Your nervous system is frayed, and any additional stimulus, no matter how small, feels like an attack. You might feel guilty or ashamed of your reactions afterward, wondering, why did I get so upset about that? It's a painful cycle, but it's a direct result of carrying an emotional load that has become too heavy to bear. Your anger is a signal, a flare sent up from a part of you that is hurting and overwhelmed. Connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires emotional energy. When you have none left to give, the most natural response is to withdraw. You start to pull away from the very person you're supposed to be closest to. This isn't always a dramatic door-slamming event. More often, it's a quiet, gradual retreat. It's choosing to scroll on your phone instead of asking about their day. It's giving one-word answers to questions. It's finding reasons to stay late at work or making yourself busy with chores to avoid having a real conversation. You build a fortress of silence around yourself because it feels safer than engagement. Meaningful discussions, especially those about the relationship itself, feel terrifying. The thought of opening up, of sharing your feelings of hurt or exhaustion, seems like an impossible task that could lead to more conflict, which you simply cannot handle. So, you avoid, you deflect, you keep everything on a superficial level. This withdrawal is a desperate attempt to conserve what little energy you have left, but in doing so, you inadvertently starve the relationship of the communication it needs to survive, creating a chasm of distance that only grows wider and more difficult to cross over time. Perhaps one of the most unsettling signs of emotional burnout is a feeling of numbness. It's when the exhaustion and irritability give way to nothing. You feel emotionally flatlined, detached not only from your partner but from yourself. The things that should make you happy don't, and the things that should make you sad don't either. It's as if a pane of glass has been placed between you and your life. You're watching it happen, but you're not fully participating in it. Your partner might express deep love for you and you feel nothing. They might share something that causes them pain and you struggle to feel empathy. This numbness is a profound psychological defense mechanism. When feelings become too painful or overwhelming to process, the mind can essentially shut them off to protect you from further harm. It's a state of emotional dissociation. You might feel like a ghost in your own life, going through the motions without any real connection to your actions or the people around you. This can be incredibly frightening because you might start to question who you are. Am I a cold person? Do I even love them anymore? The truth is, this detachment isn't a reflection of your character. It's a sign that your emotional system has been overloaded and has gone into a protective shutdown. Emotional exhaustion doesn't just live in our hearts, it powerfully impacts our minds. When your brain is constantly processing relational stress, anxiety, and hurt, it has very little bandwidth left for anything else. This often manifests as a persistent difficulty with concentration. You might find yourself reading the same paragraph over and over at work, forgetting appointments or struggling to follow the plot of a simple TV show. Your mind feels foggy and scattered, and it's hard to stay present in any given moment, especially in moments with your partner. They might be telling you a story, and you realize halfway through that you haven't heard a word. This isn't a personal failing or a sign of declining intelligence, it's cognitive overload. Your brain is so preoccupied with the emotional weight of your relationship that executive functions like focus, memory, and decision-making are severely impaired. It can make you feel incompetent and frustrated with yourself, adding another layer of stress to an already burdened system. Being unable to be present in your relationship because your mind is constantly elsewhere is a painful irony. You're physically there, but your mind, consumed by the effort of just getting through, is a million miles away. The final and perhaps most heartbreaking sign is a pervasive sense of hopelessness about the future of the relationship. When you're in the depths of emotional exhaustion, it's nearly impossible to imagine a positive path forward. The idea of working on things feels less like a hopeful project and more like a sentence to more pain and effort that you don't have. You stop daydreaming about future vacations or what your life together will look like in 5 or 10 years. Instead, the future feels like a blank wall, or worse, just more of the same exhaustion you're feeling now. This pessimism isn't just a bad mood, it's the culmination of all the other signs. When you're constantly tired, irritable, numb, and disconnected, your belief in the possibility of change erodes. The motivation to try, to have the hard conversations, to go to therapy, or to put in the effort to reconnect completely evaporates. You might find yourself thinking, what's the point? It's not going to get any better. This feeling of hopelessness is the ultimate sign that the emotional well of the relationship has run dry, and you feel you have nothing left to give to refill it. It's a profound state of surrender, not out of weakness, but out of sheer, absolute depletion. As we sit with these 7 signs, I want you to take a deep breath. If you recognized yourself or your relationship in this conversation, I see you. And the most important thing I can tell you is that you are not alone, and what you are feeling is real. It takes enormous courage to even look at these truths, to name the exhaustion and the hurt without turning away. This acknowledgement is not an ending. It is a brave and necessary beginning. It's the moment you stop pretending and start honoring the truth of your own experience. And that is a profound act of self-compassion. Please, if this resonated with you, don't carry this weight by yourself. The silence and isolation are what give the exhaustion its power. Reach out. Talk to a trusted friend, a family member, or a therapist who can provide a safe space for you to explore these feelings without judgment. Seeking support is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate sign of strength. It is choosing to believe that you are worthy of feeling whole, connected, and emotionally well, whether that's within your current relationship or on a new path forward. Your emotional well-being is not a luxury. It is essential. It is the core of who you are. You deserve a life and relationships that fill you up, not ones that drain you dry. Help is available and healing is possible. The first step is the one you took today, choosing to see, choosing to listen to your own heart, and choosing to believe that you are worth the effort. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe and see you in the next video. And as always, make yourself a priority.